We are here with Davis City Council candidate Lucas Frerichs, and we are going to ask him a set of questions for our possible endorsement on Monday evening. Lucas, please give us a short description of your qualifications for office.
Okay. Well, I think I bring a diverse set of qualifications to the office of Davis City Council. Firstly, I'm chair of the City of Davis Planning Commission. I have been on this Planning Commission for 4 years now, and I previously to that served on the city's Social Services Commission for 4 years and was chair of that. And the Social Services Commission deals with affordable housing primarily, among other things. I've also served on 2 other city commissions, the city's Innovation Park Task Force, dealing with the potential of building a business park here in the city, either an internal site or an external site somewhere in the city limits. And then also I served on the City of Davis's General Plan Housing Element Update Steering Committee for 2 years. So I have about 10 years worth of experience on various city commissions, and those are all, I think, very helpful for me in terms of qualifications for serving on the city council. And then as some of my volunteerism, I've been involved in a bunch of organizations in town, including being on the board of the Davis Food Co-op, and the Yolo Mutual Housing Association, the Yolo Basin Foundation, and others. And then in my professional life, I work in the state legislature, and I work on resources issues, natural resources issues for one of the members of the budget committee. And we specifically work on water and agriculture and renewable energy efficiency. And I'm very involved in the policy making that's going on in the Capitol that affects local cities, and I think all of those things help in terms of qualifications for my potential service on the Davis City Council.
Lucas, budget cuts have eroded many of the services that people in the community have come to rely on, leaving an increased number of citizens vulnerable. How will you work to ensure the safety net of social programs is not decimated by the budget cuts?
Well, there's no doubt that these are unprecedented fiscal times, and there has been a lot of shared sacrifice that's been occurring, both at from the state level and the local level and county level. I think there's, the City of Davis itself, at the city level, does not actually provide a lot of social services programs per se. There are definitely some things, the community development block grants, which the Social Services Commission has purview over, which I was on a member of for 4 years and was chair of. There are, even 4 years ago when I left the Social Services Commission, there were a huge number of applicants for a very small amount of money of nonprofits, local nonprofits that actually were in need of scarce, valuable dollars, and all of those nonprofits were helping, their various constituencies and serving really vital functions in the community. I think that is really a key for me, is that we need to ensure that we have a very good, strong working relationship with our local nonprofits, and really promote. While the city doesn't itself do a lot of actual social services work per se, there's a lot of ability for a city and city government to actually interact with the nonprofit community and really help ensure that we're partnering in ways that we can help that community, especially through these difficult fiscal times. A lot of those nonprofits really know, they're really very much on the front lines of the services that have been cut, particularly coming from the state level. The cuts coming from the state level, and I think it's really important for us to make sure we have really continued strong working relationships with them to ensure their success in the future, and making sure that their constituencies are being served particularly in these sort of bad fiscal times.
Thank you.
So understanding, of course, that everything boils down to money, but what do you consider the 3 most important issues facing the city right now, and what's coming down the pipe over the next 5 years?
Yeah. Well, for me, I think that the top 3 issues are the budget, the city's budget and fiscal position, first of all. Secondly, would be a need for increasing revenue, and then also infrastructure is the third sort of major thing for me. As far as the budget is concerned, the city can't do anything unless it has its fiscal house in order. There have been a lot of cuts made already. There are probably very likely cuts that still yet need to be made. There's a whole range of things that can be done. It does not necessarily, though, involve just cutting employee benefits or cutting employee positions. I think there are a lot of ways to save money that have not been really looked at yet. There are a number of examples include the school district. The Davis School District has an information technology department, and that's located just across the street from the City Hall from Davis, which the City of Davis also has its own information technology department. Frankly, there's no need why both of those entities need their own department when they could be actually sort of consolidate them and sort of get better, potentially more efficient services by having one department that's shared through both organizations. I think there needs to be a top to bottom, line by line look at the city's budget and really examine where the money is coming from, where it's being spent, and also sort of a community conversation about prioritization.
So kind of a zero-based budgeting.
Zero-based
process.
budgeting actually works, yeah. I mean, that's absolutely, it's definitely, been talked about for a long time in the state capitol and there's been a lot of talk, though. That's the key. There's not a lot of action on that. But there's a real need for a real comprehensive community-wide conversation about what we want, what people want in this community, what they want to spend the money, the scarce dollars on. So that's the budget issues, but then it leads to the revenue side of things, which is we need additional revenue for the city. Currently, most local governments in California are funded through the generation of sales tax dollars, retailer and otherwise. And so, the city of Davis has a lot of sales tax leakage to the community of Woodland and to Sacramento, West Sacramento, Vacaville, and others. And it's not necessarily about increasing increasing the amount of big box retail stores or things like that here in Davis. No, not at all. But I think there's definitely some room for for additional improvement in capturing additional sales tax dollars and some smaller stores that definitely whether it's in the downtown or some over by the Target shopping center. There's about 4 or 5 pads of space there that have not been utilized yet by any retailer. Additionally, the city also gets quite a great deal of its sales tax revenue from the auto mall or from auto sales, and there have been some proposals to sort of change the auto mall configuration out there in South Davis, and I think that we need to examine those very carefully and not just allow for other types of businesses to move into the auto mall area particularly when those businesses don't bring in sales tax dollars. The bread and butter, so to speak, for the city of Davis it comes in through sales tax dollars from auto sales. So that's something that we need to actually be very mindful of. The last issue, I think, in terms of the revenue, increased revenue, would be, it's also, and I've spoken about it before, but is downtown. We lost Borders Books and Music a few months ago. They went out of business nationally. Instead of pursuing another sales tax generating revenue source, the city has, the Whole Foods has announced they're coming in as a retailer, and they're coming into that shopping center, and they are definitely a community draw. There's no question about that, but they don't generate sales tax dollars. So we have one of the city's single largest sales tax generators leave, and then instead of actually pursuing additional sales tax revenue, we are pursuing a company that will not generate any sales tax. And then there'll also be a number of other associated issues with having Whole Foods in that location, including traffic impacts, parking impacts, and then also probably a detriment to a lot of the downtown restaurants. Whole Foods is really well known for their very nice and large delis and things like that. And I think a lot of people who patronize downtown restaurants during the lunchtime hour are probably going to patronize Whole Foods instead and not necessarily penetrate all their way into downtown into those restaurants. So I think that's an issue that is sort of an unintended consequence, but we have definitely missed the boat there in terms of trying to get sales tax dollars. And then the third thing is the infrastructure issues. There are a lot of issues that need to be dealt with in terms of infrastructure in this community, whether it's smaller things like roads and potholes and streetlights that are out, up to the larger things like water, for example.